The wrestling world just got a whole lot more dangerous, and Dean Ambrose is back with a vengeance that nobody saw coming. After what went down at Crown Jewel with Roman Reigns suffering a brutal defeat, the Lunatic Fringe has crawled out from wherever he's been hiding to deliver a message so cold it could freeze hell itself, and his target is none other than the monster known as Bronson Reed. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button right now because you're about to witness something that will shake the entire wrestling landscape to its core. Roman Reigns walked into Crown Jewel as the tribal chief, the head of the table, the man who has dominated WWE for what feels like an eternity, but he walked out with something he's not used to experiencing, and that's defeat. The loss wasn't just any ordinary loss either, because it came with devastating consequences that have sent shockwaves through the entire bloodline and left fans wondering what comes next for the man who has held the championship scene in an iron grip for years. But while everyone was focused on Roman's fall from grace, something far more sinister was brewing in the shadows. Dean Ambrose, the man who once terrorized WWE as part of the Shield alongside Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, has been watching everything unfold from a distance. The unpredictable brawler who left WWE years ago and carved his own path in the independent wrestling scene has apparently been keeping tabs on his former brother-in-arms. When Roman fell at Crown Jewel, something inside Ambrose snapped and he decided it was time to make his presence felt in the most aggressive way possible. Bronson Reed has been on an absolute tear lately, destroying everything in his path with the kind of ruthless aggression that makes grown men second-guess their career choices. The Australian powerhouse has been dropping bodies left and right, using his devastating tsunami splash to crush opponents into oblivion and making it clear that he's not just here to participate but to dominate. Reed has been calling out everyone and anyone, building a reputation as one of the most dangerous forces in professional wrestling today, but he might have just bitten off more than he can chew. The message that Dean Ambrose sent to Bronson Reed wasn't delivered through some polished corporate video package or a carefully scripted promo on television. This was raw, unfiltered, and dripping with the kind of intensity that made Ambrose one of the most compelling figures in wrestling history. Through social media channels that lit up like wildfire, Ambrose made it crystal clear that he's seen what Reed has been doing and he's not impressed. More than that, he's ready to do something about it. Ambrose reminded everyone why he earned the nickname the Lunatic Fringe in the first place. His message wasn't just words on a screen but a promise of violence, a guarantee of chaos, and a warning that Bronson Reed's reign of terror is about to meet its match. The timing couldn't be more perfect or more calculated, because with Roman Reigns dealing with the aftermath of his Crown Jewel loss, the entire power structure of WWE is in flux, and Ambrose knows that chaos creates opportunity. What makes this situation even more explosive is the history between Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. These two men shed blood together as brothers in the Shield, the faction that revolutionized WWE and left a mark on the industry that will never be erased. They fought side by side through wars that tested their limits and pushed them beyond what anyone thought possible. But relationships in wrestling are complicated, and when Ambrose left WWE, he left behind more than just a company. He left behind friendships, rivalries, and unfinished business that has been simmering beneath the surface for years. Roman Reigns losing at Crown Jewel represents more than just a single match gone wrong. It represents a crack in the armor of the tribal chief, a sign that even the most dominant forces can be brought down. For someone like Dean Ambrose, who knows Roman better than almost anyone, this moment represents the perfect opportunity to either extend a hand to his former brother or to twist the knife even deeper into an open wound. The message to Bronson Reed suggests he might be choosing the latter. Bronson Reed has made his intentions clear since arriving on the main roster. He wants to destroy legends, demolish reputations, and cement himself as the most feared competitor in the business. He's already put several superstars on the shelf with his brutal offensive style and his willingness to do whatever it takes to win. Reed doesn't just beat opponents, he breaks them physically and mentally, leaving them questioning whether they ever want to step in the ring again. But Dean Ambrose is not your typical opponent. The Lunatic Fringe built his entire career on being unpredictable, on taking risks that would make other wrestlers cringe, and on absorbing punishment that would hospitalize normal human beings. Ambrose has been in hardcore matches that redefined what it means to be tough. He's competed in death matches on the independent scene that make WWE's most violent encounters look like playground scuffles, and he's proven time and time again that there's no level of pain he won't endure to achieve his goals. Bronson Reed might be big, powerful, and dominant, but he's about to face someone who simply doesn't care about pain the way normal people do. The wrestling community erupted when Ambrose's message went public. Fans who have been waiting years to see the Lunatic Fringe return to the spotlight suddenly had hoped that their wait might be over. The possibility of Dean Ambrose coming back to confront Bronson Reed has social media buzzing with speculation about what this could mean for the future. Would this be a one-time appearance or the beginning of something much bigger? Could we see Ambrose inserted into the ongoing Bloodline saga? Might this lead to a Shield reunion or the exact opposite, a final confrontation between former brothers? What really makes this message so chilling is the personal nature of it. Ambrose didn't just challenge Reed to a match or throw out generic tough guy threats. He spoke about knowing what it takes to break men like Bronson Reed, about understanding the psychology of destruction, and about being willing to go to places that Reed has never even imagined. The subtext was clear and terrifying. Dean Ambrose isn't coming back for glory or championships or accolades. He's coming back to hurt someone. Bronson Reed has yet to respond publicly to Ambrose's message, but you can bet he's not intimidated. Reed has made a career out of facing down anyone who steps in his path, and his confidence borders on arrogance at times. He believes that his size, strength, and ruthless mentality make him invincible, and so far, he's been proven right more often than not. But there's a difference between facing opponents who follow the rules and facing someone like Dean Ambrose who doesn't acknowledge that rules exist. The connection to Roman Reigns and his crown jewel loss adds layers of complexity to this situation that make it absolutely fascinating. Is Dean Ambrose targeting Bronson Reed as a way to send a message to Roman? Is he trying to prove that he's the one who should be leading the charge to restore order? Or is this about something completely different, a personal vendetta against Reed for his actions against other wrestlers? The beautiful thing about Ambrose is that with him, it could be all of the above or none of the above, because he operates on a wavelength that nobody else can quite understand. The timing also raises questions about what role WWE management might play in all of this. Dean Ambrose left the company on his own terms years ago and has been thriving in the independent wrestling scene as Jon Moxley, winning championships and critical acclaim for his work outside the WWE bubble. For him to suddenly insert himself into WWE business suggests that either he's been given some kind of green light to return, or he simply doesn't care about corporate approval and is doing what he wants regardless of consequences. Bronson Reed's recent path of destruction has included taking out some of the biggest names in the company. He's shown no mercy and no respect for legacy or history. In Reed's mind, the past doesn't matter and old names don't scare him because he's building his own legacy on the broken bodies of everyone who came before. That mindset is exactly what makes him such a compelling villain, but it's also what might be his downfall when facing someone like Ambrose who has nothing to lose and everything to prove. The fans are divided on what they want to see happen next. Some are calling for an immediate match between Ambrose and Reed, a brutal no-holds-barred encounter that would settle this the old-fashioned way through violence and warfare. Others want to see this storyline play out slowly, building tension over weeks or months until the eventual confrontation becomes an event that nobody can miss. There's also a faction of fans who want to see how this ties into the Roman Reigns situation and whether we might finally get the Shield reunion or confrontation that has been teased for so long. Dean Ambrose sending this message to Bronson Reed represents more than just one wrestler calling out another. It represents the collision of different eras, different styles, and different philosophies about what professional wrestling should be. Reed represents the modern monster heel, using his physical advantages and brutal tactics to dominate. Ambrose represents something more primal, the street fighter who doesn't rely on size or conventional tactics but instead uses intelligence, unpredictability, and an insane pain threshold to overcome any obstacle. The question now becomes what happens next. Does Bronson Reed accept this challenge, or does he try to ignore it and hope that Ambrose goes away? Does WWE management get involved and try to control the situation, or do they let these two warriors settle their differences on their own terms? And most importantly, what role, if any, will Roman Reigns play in all of this given his recent struggles and his history with Dean Ambrose? Wrestling fans know that moments like this don't come around often. When a legend like Dean Ambrose decides to come out of the shadows and target someone, it means something significant is about to happen. The message to Bronson Reed wasn't just talk, it was a declaration of war from someone who has proven throughout his career that he backs up every word with action. Reed has been the hunter for months now, stalking his prey and taking them down one by one, but now he might have become the hunted. The wrestling world is holding its breath, waiting to see what comes next. Will we see Dean Ambrose return to the ring to face Bronson Reed? Will this lead to a larger storyline involving Roman Reigns and the Bloodline? Could this be the beginning of a new chapter in Ambrose's career, or a brief appearance before he returns to his independent ventures? Nobody knows for certain, but one thing is absolutely clear. When the Lunatic Fringe sends a message this chilling, this direct, and this personal, the smart money says that blood is about to be spilled. If you've watched this far, then you already know this is just the beginning of something huge. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you don't miss a single update about this developing situation, because things are about to get real violent real fast and you're going to want to be here for every second of it.